everyone, to the Dragon's Tome. My name's Jack. That's Rob. That's Pat. And what we do here is we are going through the Dragon magazine. You all know them. You all love them. I remember back in the day, they used to come in the mail. You used to paw through them
That
with
used to
vigor.
be magazines that you would buy off the rack.
Yes. Well, we're going to take a walk into the past. We're going to do a little nostalgia dive
Did
and
you
read through one and discuss.
did you have a subscription, Jack?
I did for years.
Pat, did you have a
Yes.
subscription?
I did because it came with my RPGA
yeah.
membership. You
I-
renewed. You got the subscription included in your RPGA member.
Yeah, I only ever bought them from
There was
stores.
like a higher tier.
Aren't you fancy pants? Higher
Hey,
tier.
man, at the time, I was all into Dungeons and Dragons and role playing.
Well, speaking of fancy pants, let's take a look at the cover of this magazine. We are on
That's a
107.
segue.
Are we back to gnomes again?
Oh, how dare you?
I mean,
I will agree. His hat is slightly more conical and red.
but I'm
Well-
looking at the other guys in the background.
But
It's
we are
called
also
Yeah, this is called Gargoth Disguised by Dean Morrissey. So, it's somebody in disguise. I assume a wizard because he's floating some balls there.
Of course, he's juggling, but I also think he might have broke his ankle.
I think he's. I think they're all dwarves. Playing their silly games, but the disguised one is the actual tree
I think so too because it's got that evil face.
hidden in there. So I that is where I fall on that. Some dwarves
Interesting.
in a camp
It
and
could be dwarves.
in hiding.
I am really concerned about this guy's ankle, though. This looks like a serious break. Unless one of these five guys is a cleric, I don't know what's going to happen to this guy.
He's jaunty.
You do have a penchant for pointing out proportional issues and the like. So this is not surprising. This isn't a heel turn for you, young Patrick.
No, I mean it's either he busted his ankle or his shoe's coming off.
I think he's doing a little jig.
I think what has happened is what you don't see from this bag of treasure is a jewel of some sort, maybe an opal or an amber, and he's slipping on it.
Oh, this is mid accident in which
Yes.
he falls and
Yeah, because he's juggling, and then all of a sudden he's gonna have like, "Oh God, I fell, and my juggling balls are everywhere," but they're really sleep bombs.
I've said that many times.
Speaking of sleep bombs, why don't we get onto this, onto the innards of this here magazine? How
Okay.
I'm going to say, Rob, you're wearing the most red. Oh,
Yes.
Gesundheit. You're wearing the most red, which appears to be the order of operations. So why don't we start with you?
Oh, he's got char on his shirt though.
I'll roll, but
Mine's samurai though. I probably can't see it because there's usually a logo here, but you can't even see my shirt. I'm sure. Okay. What are we starting with here? Let's
Dragon
go.
Rumbles.
There is no Dragon
What
Rumbles,
page?
unfortunately, but I was going to go to the editor section, which is on page 5. It's just really, I want to say, because it says coming soon, a magazine full of modules. What? Obviously, Dungeon Magazine's coming. It's an unnamed magazine at this point, but it's Dungeon, as we know.
Oh, Dungeon. That's right.
this was mine as well. And yes, it's going to. They allude to it's not going to be on the newsstands. It's going to be a subscription base only, and yeah, probably this is Dungeon in its, in the planning stages.
I would have thought it was already out by now, but yeah, I guess that makes sense. They do say that
I mean,
new.
it's only 86, right?
Yeah, 86. Oh yeah, we never did mention it's episode 107, March 86. But not in 86 you would have been what? 12?
No, I would have been 17.
17? How old are you? Jesus. What was I going to say? You just distracted me. Oh, I was going to say that no more modules in Dragon. So, for those people who thought it was just a waste of space, it's still going to be $350 and you'll get no modules. So
You'll have to pay another for 50 to get a dungeon.
yeah, I think Dungeon was even more expensive, wasn't it? I never bought a Dungeon, but
See, I had Dungeon magazines. I had a few of them, but I never had a subscription, so I don't know how I got them if they weren't for sale.
Maybe a store had a subscription and was selling them.
Yeah,
Maybe.
my one of my best friends, he had the subscription to Dungeon, so I just leached off of his.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll never know. We're never going to cover Dungeon Magazine, so. Or are
Yet.
we? No. Jack, that he wrote into his contract that no Dungeon Magazine. It was
That's
actually
all right. We'll get
the
his,
one thing
we'll
we
get,
let in it.
We'll get his twin, John.
Jacques.
That's his French cousin, Jacques.
Anyways, that was my article.
Perfect. Patrick.
All right, my 10. Let's go down to page 10.
Ooh.
A new loyalty base.
Loyalty.
Yeah, so this was a different way to handle charisma encounters. The guy starts off by Stephen Innes, by the way, he's the author of this article. Starts off by saying like how charisma is the least important of the attributes when rolling up a character, and I'm pretty guilty of that statement,
Especially at the
Always
time. Yeah.
lowballing the charisma, just thinking, oh, blah blah blah. But what he did is put new charts in one place and new modifiers,
You kind
different from
yeah.
the DM's guide and player's handbook, because those charts were all over the place.
Yeah, he kind of combined them all into one section.
Yeah, but then he changed it from a percentile roll to a D20 roll.
Yeah.
Which is and it's basically a way of figuring out how a stranger will react to you. You know, in any of my games, and I'm as DM, I was guilty of not using a lot of charisma either.
I would just do checks, right? It would be like,
Yeah, in
I
a
wouldn't get
sense,
that in depth, you know?
But I wrote jokingly, is his way of handling these tests with a D20 the possible start of the D20 way.
Yeah, well, it is the same, exact same. If it's in sets of 5 anyways, it's a D20. It's the same difference.
Yeah,
That's the joke about D20 is it's exact same as a D100. It's just
yeah, it's in fives. Yeah. But yeah, it's like it's a nice little thing. It's got charts. It tells you get bonuses and minuses to your roll depending if you're the same race or that, or if the person, if you're rude and unruly, and things like that. So, nice little chart. I mean, again, I didn't use it. If I had maybe remembered, if I was still GMing Dungeons and Dragons at this point in the year, I would probably, and had read this chart, I would probably use this then.
Yeah, the funny thing is in video games I love doing like a pure charisma kind of character, but never do it in role playing games.
Yeah.
The problem is when you're doing a role playing game and you're using charisma, encounters usually go not by the stated like charisma stat, but if you're being smarmy or snotty or you're
Yeah, it's the way you play it instead of actually what your
you're
stat is.
playing it more
Yeah.
so than the charisma.
And that's where it usually rolls into.
Well, the same could be true with intelligence or wisdom too. It's like it's how you play it, not necessarily what your stat is, right? So
Yeah. It's
Right.
unless it's a physical stat, I think a lot of them are just up for interpretation.
yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Well then, I'm going to do my article, and if you could follow me down to page 85.
Ooh,
Whoa.
he's skipping everything.
I think Jack skips
He wanted to get this in before I stole it from him. That's why.
85 or 86.
85
in the thing, or
85 in the
85.
PDF is
85.
the picture of the start of the article
oh
by Jeff Grubb, and it is the part 2 of something I already covered before. This is members of Omega Flight, which are the villains for Alpha Flight, formerly Gamma Flight. And I basically just I was looking forward to this because I was a big fan of Wild Child. And with great anticipation, I looked and I saw stats. I went, oh, okay, yeah, that's good. But this predates knowledge of where he came from and what his origins are.
That's why I always say the
So-
problem with these Alpha Flight ones is it changes so much. that it's out of date before it's even published.
So just to um, he's basically part of the Weapon X program. You find out much later.
Yeah, later. He's also not necessarily a heartless feral killing machine. He's actually a good guy. So there you go.
Yes. But so we have Smart Alec flashback, Diamond Lil, who I was a fan of both her and Smart Alec, although Smart Alec had a very, very
Yeah,
small.
he doesn't
part.
last long.
He doesn't last long. Um, pretty well written, interesting supervillains. So, yeah, for fans of comic books and Alpha Flight in particular,
There you go. It's yeah. It is so funny reading these because it is so out of date. Like even at the time, I think it was out of date. John Byrne
yeah,
was just like, no.
I look back with nostalgia and then I start thinking about, oh, okay, well, I don't know how long the Marvel Superheroes game goes on with updates and such, um, but there's there's a whole host of people that I would love to have seen in the magazine in this particular in the way this is done in the Marvel files and stuff like that. But I don't know how long that goes on.
I'm not sure how long the Marvel file goes on. I don't think it goes on much longer, but the game itself goes for quite a while because Advanced Marvel Superheroes is just coming out. So, but I think Jeff Grubb is getting burned out. There's a few times when he writes about stuff, and it's just like you can tell he's not really into it doing these things anymore. So,
well, he was at the time writing Marvel Superheroes, the modules, and this, which is basically, if we're gonna be cynical about it, this is an ad for the role-playing game.
Yeah, of course.
Seeing some favorite characters that statted up makes you want to look into playing. Yeah, he's got a lot on his plate during this time.
Yeah, I think he's getting a little burned. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. So that brings us back around to young Robert.
We're gonna go to 18. The 6 main skills. What AD and game abilities mean in real time. Well, this is like my only article, so
that's okay.
I'm gonna have to suck this one up. No, I have another one.
You can go ahead. No, you can have it because I have quite a few.
This is by
good.
Jefferson P. Swikaffer. So yeah, I guess so. He details all the attributes. First of all, the reason I got attracted to this article is because look at Hulk Hogan right here. That is definitely Hulk Hogan.
He is a real American.
I passed right through that because I was just reading. I wasn't looking at the pictures, but yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, that's
notice
Hulk Hogan.
that he was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, so this is one of those articles where they try to make attributes realistic.
Is that Rocky 3? Because he's Thunder Lips there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so it's another article. They're trying to make attributes realistic, which never works. I do love at one point he says, in virtually no part of history before the present were women encouraged to exercise. And meanwhile, I say that to a Norse like shield maiden or Amazons or many other female warriors in the olden days. Yeah, so he tries to compare real world examples to fantasy setting, which never works.
No.
He says it's impossible. What?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, he says it's impossible to overburden a heart. Hello, that's called a heart attack.
Exactly. But remember, he's taking all this off from a sports medicine textbook.
Well, sort of, but
that's his resource.
Yeah, but you can obviously overburden a heart. Like athletes all the time overburden their hearts.
Yeah. Like, at one point under Constitution, he says women famously have better constitution than men, and even when little girls who are forbidden to exercise are.
When was this book?
And it reminded me of, when they'll drag out like a from the 30s, dating advice for the young lady, and it's just this crazy.
I wonder if this book he's taking it from was written in like 1800s. Like it's really odd.
I would bet you it was the 1940s, 1950s.
You think it's a eugenics book?
Yeah. I mean, I read this article too, and all the main physical ones like constitution, dexterity, and strength were all just fairly apparent. These are just things you do. as an athlete or whatever, the more coordinated you are, of course you're gonna be more dexterous. And the more you work out, the more stronger
Well,
you're gonna be.
what he does pretty much say about dexterity, though, is it's so vague that it's useless because there's so many different types of dexterity that the
Yeah,
actual stat is kind of useless because what kind of
I agree
dexterity are you
because it's a
talking about?
general. Because you might have fast hands, but you don't have fast feet.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, and like you say, dexterity
Yes.
could be catching a ball or making a watch, like being dexterous and putting a pocket watch together. But yeah. He does go on a screed against IQ tests, which I thought was an odd thing to go. He just goes crazy about IQ tests,
Yeah.
which is true, but it's just kind of funny. He says wisdom is innate and fixed, but then says it could be improved with experiencing life. So I don't know what that means.
Oh,
Like,
it's just I had to think about that too. I mean, you are only as wise as your experiences, basically.
yeah, but he says
Is what he's trying to
it's
say.
innate. That's not innate. That means you can change it. So if
I
it,
well, I took a bit of umbrage with the fact that he assumed that the more you saw and the longer you lived, the more wise you would have gotten. And I've met plenty of people that,
yeah,
to the contrary,
that too.
uh,
It doesn't necessarily equal, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
No,
But I think Rob hit the nail on the head. Uh, trying the vagaries of the stats are just to give you the basis, and the more you try and nail it down, the
Yeah.
more you try
Well,
and
Gygax has said many
quantify
times, don't do it. Like,
then it kind of
falls
loses.
apart. Yeah.
Every time you're trying to squeeze your hand around it, the sand starts coming out the
Yeah.
sides.
mm-hmm.
And the whole charisma
Definitely.
thing, he seems to be hitting on a girl he likes the whole time. He starts talking about some girl who's, it's like, dude,
Wow.
okay, obviously.
I
And
mean, he does point out though, as far as role playing is concerned, it's always been people tend to think charisma is how nice you look rather than how nice you are.
yeah, but it shouldn't be connected with nicest at all. You don't have to be nice to be charismatic. Talk to serial killers; they're not nice. They're charismatic as fuck. So
But nice in the sense is it's a general term, not just what I'm saying.
I don't think nice is the correct word. I think
I mean,
personable is maybe more correct. But yeah, I think nice is a way of thought, not so much a how you
I
you know.
use nice because it works well as an adjective for looks.
But it
You look
doesn't.
personable.
But wow, and even Gygax later changed charisma not to be looks. Comeliness came along, and
Yeah.
that's
Well,
more looks.
they added that in Unearthed Arcana.
Yeah.
Which yeah, it is a thing at this point. So
Yeah.
Well, once again, you could be super charismatic and ugly, like
Yeah.
yeah,
That's my point.
Yeah, so that's
that's
the
why
thing.
we have almost 100 viewers.
Oh,
Mm.
that's it. I don't know if you're insulting us
Yeah.
or.
I don't know anymore either.
Anyways,
The charismatic ones over here.
oh, we should do a shout out now that you mentioned viewers. We did get a nice message from another podcast called Roll Off a Tangent on YouTube, and they critique stories, including some Dragon and Dragonlance
And
stuff.
books.
So
They even do go over some role playing because I watched their talk on Call of Cthulhu, which I thought was a little interesting.
there you go. We'll call it the story. But anyways,
No, the role playing game.
shout out to those guys. Anyways, thanks for
What
commenting.
was it called?
Roll Off a Tangent.
A tangent. Okay, because I put in roll off a tangent, and it was in the
Tangent.
Google, and it was
It went
it
to
was
a bunch of
different. So
bronzed guys, huh?
yes. So roll off a tangent. Check them out.
One word, not two words.
No.
Yeah, women tend to have better constitution than men. Doesn't back it up in any way. I was confused about that one. It probably makes
Again,
sense. They
this
higher pain tolerance. Like he should explain. Like they probably do have definitely do have a higher pain tolerance. They have to do childbirth and stuff. So so it kind of makes sense. But constitution, I think a poison would kill either person just easily. So, anyways, enough of this article that I think is a fool's errand. Hey, look, it's a fool.
Hey, look, everyone! It's a fool.
I never actually looked at the other pictures. I was so mesmerized by Hulk Hogan, I didn't notice there was other pictures.
They are, and they were pretty spot on the nose for what he was speaking about at the time.
Anyways, that's my article.
Okay, so Next, Pat. Where are we going?
We're gonna go to page 30.
30.
30.
And this
Oh,
is
Harn.
Harn was the start, and I read this article because of
We talked about
we
Harn a
looked
lot.
at in Harn and Inverness and all that. You know, I thought this was something that Rob would dig because it was a Viking themed world. Even looked into getting it, and so this is actual game accessory review by Eric Pass, and apparently this world, Viking world, is much more bigger and popular than I imagined. Because apparently they're really killing it with this city of Harn and Harn world.
I definitely remember it from back in the day.
I don't. Honestly, I don't.
I
It was
do. I do remember Cities of Harn. I don't know if I always thought it was just a cool name, but and what is it? The Harnica Encyclopedia or whatever it is. Encyclopedia Harnica.
Yeah, Harnica,
I
yeah.
thought it's a hilarious name.
But he gives a favorable review of all the game setting as well as the supplements, which, and I will be honest with you, I was quite surprised to learn that this world is much bigger. He actually says, so there's supposedly about 297 pages. It would take 297 pages of maps to cover the world, and then there'd be about 200 pages of oceans to explore in that thing.
I just saw Columbia Games is a Canadian company. Maybe that's why we've heard of it more.
Yeah, maybe.
That would make sense.
So, all in all, nothing but good things to say about this world, these accessories, and everything up for Harn. So, if you're looking for reference or something to try new, let's go back in the past and look at Inverness, or what's the other one?
Looks like Columbia Games is still around.
I forget what was the other. What was the first one called?
What?
What's the War Look at there? War Look at there. I can't even remember the name of the. There was Inverness after the first one. Was it City of Harn?
Oh, Harn. I think it's just called Harn. The role playing game was the original book.
Okay. Yeah. So, quick shout out to Gloomy Games. Apparently, you did much better than I thought you did.
They're not a Canadian company. This guy lies. They're from Washington, USA.
Oh, you did, because he literally starts the paragraph with Columbia Games Inc. is a Canadian company.
It's a lie. They're from Columbia, Washington.
Oh.
Oh wait, no, they started in Canada before they were Columbia Games. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
Columbia Games is an American company, but the people who started the game were from Canada. So started the company from Canada.
America stealing all our best talent.
Yeah, what do they call it? The brain drain.
Yep. Eric Pass.
Mike Myers is.
Exactly. Shouts out, all products are richly detailed and fully consistent. So
they were Gamma 2 Games originally when they were in Canada. They're in Vancouver though, so it doesn't really count.
Well, explains why I went down to Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally stepped 2 feet and went to Washington.
All right, so that was my little shout out.
Shout out to the Harn with a umlaut. I think it's got an umlaut. It doesn't have it in this.
It's an umlaut. I think it's got not the umlaut, but the up accent.
Accent aigu?
Accent goûté?
I think aigu is up, isn't it?
I have no idea.
All right, Jack, what do you got?
It is
a crushing chest cold. No, my other one was the Magazine of Modules discussion that may not be Dungeon on the horizon. So that taps me out for articles. So I guess that's on the ads. That's the format.
No.
That's what we all decided. What?
I have only done one article yet.
What?
Yeah. Where have you been?
Jack, I think that cold has gone into your brain.
Are you so hopped up on cough medicine that you haven't been paying attention?
We just started,
Buckley's,
Jack.
Buckley's is coursing through my veins. I am more pine needles cough suppressant than I am that anymore.
Is it back to me?
Yes.
I got a few short ones and a long one, but I got a couple.
Me too. I got 2 short ones.
Page 92, I think. No, page 94. Convention calendar. I always just skim through convention calendar. I don't know why, but this one caught my eye because it's on. Where is it on this one? Because there's a lot of things here. It's actually on the beginning of page 95. It's Games Plus Day. Games Plus is the store we go to in Chicago all the time.
Oh yeah.
But the funny thing is, I was like, hey, they have their own thing. But FASA's Battle Droids. So it's this was written before they were changed to BattleTech. It was called Battle Droids before George Lucas sued somebody. So I just thought it was funny that they actually say Battle Droids, because I'm sure, since FASA was a Chicago company, that probably Games Plus was one of the first places that played the games, because it's been around. Yeah. So there you go. We got some history. That's a nice quick one. Pat, where's your quick one?
Number 36.
36. Oh yeah.
The Ecology of the Sea Lion. This was probably by Ed Greenwood, of course, and by and far, I think this is probably his worst ecology, because it literally was just talking about lions that were water lions, basically, not sea lions like you would see it at like not sea lions like you would see it.
A literal sea lion, yes.
Bear, yeah.
Not a seal.
Yeah, not a seal, basically. And they talk about that. He goes, I'm not talking about seals in the story. I'm talking about sea lions.
So at no point was anyone kissed by a rose?
Nope, not one bit.
Oh.
There was no...
but there's a deep
grave.
cut, Jack. But Britain was almost invaded. That was called Project Silo, which was sea lion in German.
Oh.
Look at that.
That's true.
That's a deep cut.
I mean, the whole thing just reads.
If we're all going to be honest.
The whole thing just reads like regular land cousins, with the exceptions that they could be trained at a young age to be attack animals or guard animals.
Just like lions.
Yeah. So, I was like, oh, I thought I was going to get a good story. I didn't even get that.
So is it the one disappointment from Greenwood?
It is. I'm not holding it against them. I mean, no one bats 1,000.
And prolific does not begin to describe the amount of writing every month in, month out. There's at least one Greenwood, and it is not a skimpy, slapdash. So
Jack, are you just trying to suck up to him after all those bad things you said about him? Is that what's happening here?
Before I die, which is going to be very soon, I want to make amends with my arch nemesis.
No, he's your nemesis, but he's a good friend of the show, a long-time listener.
Yes, both of those.
I should have taken a picture just from a distance, you standing next to him, Pat, because that would have been hilarious. It would have been like, look, it's proof. Meanwhile, you're just standing in line.
That is funny. That would have been funny.
But yeah, sea lions suck.
Yeah. Again, no one bats 1,000. That's all I got to say.
Yeah,
I don't hold it against them.
Okay, so
I honestly believe that they go, we need another ecology from Ed. He's like, oh God. All right, here you go.
Yeah, he probably was just like running on fumes.
He goes, look, I got a game this weekend. I don't have time to make another ecology right now.
I've got all this other stuff on my plate. What do you need? Tell me. Give me something good.
Here's Sir Atchiborough and the lion. It can be trained. All right, sea lions. Here we go. We'll put him in the water.
That's right. He's at Marineland watching.
When did Marineland open?
Mutual of Omaha.
Yeah, Wild Kingdom.
Yes.
Classic.
See that?
Oh,
that's right around this time too. He was probably sitting around the table writing.
We're gonna go to page 65 now. 65, Jack. It's a profile of Larry Elmore. I thought it was cool. It's him on a hog. And
it almost looks Photoshop. If there was Photoshop in '86,
you could have cut. You'd have to cut around it, but you could do it. Yeah, it was an interesting article about Elmore. I just love how he was graduated top 10 in art school. He drafted into the army as an illustrator, which is funny. Luckily, he didn't go to any actual war because we'd have lost one of the best artists on the world, in the planet. But he said he was in Germany and he had nothing to illustrate, so he just drew nudie pics for all the men. He had nothing better to do. He also worked on National Lampoon and Heavy Metal, which I never knew. And one of his buddies badgered for him to send stuff into TSR, and then TSR badgered him to move to Lake Geneva. And that's how he got to work there. It seems like he was really just badgered into doing everything in his life. But
do it, man. Great.
In the Eye of the Beholder documentary, which is great. If you haven't watched it, he's a really funny guy. So
yeah.
So check out Elmore. Pat, do you have any more?
I got one last one. And it's
I've taken over, Jack.
Apparently,
well, we don't want you to die, so we're gonna let you recuperate.
usurped my show just so that you could keep squeezing
we
in
didn't.
more and
We
more.
didn't. We didn't usurp. We are genuinely concerned about your health, and we don't want you to get strained from talking.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
What page, Pat?
Page 62.
62.
When the ration runs out.
Oh, jeez.
I thought I like this article because I agree with the article that most overland adventures are kind of generic, and you don't hold anyone accountable for making sure they have enough food, especially if you're really trying to make them find a way to get to where they're trying to go. So it's nice little charts on how to handle all that when they run out of food. It's not a very long article. It's a couple of charts, a couple of rolls, and then
Once again, it reminds me of what will be in the Wilderness Survival Guide.
yeah, basically, yeah, it's like a precursor to the Wilderness Survival Guide. And I didn't hate the article.
It calls into question why hit points are the punishment for starvation and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
like this is that you just get
Makes
tired and you
sense.
fall asleep for days, and other things like that. You're not as quote unquote dexterous.
Well, once again, hit points are a
Crutch.
yeah, or just like a covers everything to do with your life,
Yeah.
kind of. It means sometimes you could dodge things, or sometimes you know how to take a hit. That's why you only take this many hit points, or
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean you're like life bar, like we think of like in video games. So.
Yeah. And I honestly, and I was thinking about it as I finished reading this article, I was like going back and thinking of all the different adventures I've run in other systems. I really don't hold anyone accountable for their food.
Yeah, I just assume you're all right. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, there's the school of thought that, hey, the travel isn't the adventure in this.
In a sense, but I was thinking like in the sense where like you're out looking for something. You don't know where it is. You don't know how long it's going to take you. Yet we still just kind of roll through that and just let them walk around until they find it.
Well, once again, you think these adventurers would be able to hunt and get food or whatever.
Yeah.
But conversely, you could, if that was what you wanted to do, make it. That's the ticking clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it was part of the adventure.
Parlance of a movie or
I get
a
it.
TV show.
And I'm guilty just as anyone else for just kind of glossing over it. So
right. It's just one of those things that, yeah, you could. Some games, especially, are made to be micromanaged, but D&D, I find it's kind of you gloss over this kind of stuff. You want to get to the fighting.
and it's not, and then again, I just don't think it's something we have to do, but we just do it.
Yeah,
it's not wrong. It's not right.
Oh yeah, either way, it's fine.
We just don't do it.
Whatever's fun, whatever.
It's like encumbrance, right?
Yeah, it's like encumbrance,
or
like
spell components.
Yeah, or
things like that, where it's just obviously you can do it. Yeah, or just.
So I mean,
that's why I like.
Good article. If you like including these things, I think this was a good article for that.
I think it's.
Did I even say a word right there?
You kind of slurred. You're having a stroke. It's all right.
Yeah, I think so.
We're all dying here.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the. I think it's Trail of Cthulhu. One of those games that. If you want something, you just have to roll. There's the stat that you have that's like what you have on hand, and you just roll against it. And if you succeed, oh, you do have that in your bag. So if you're like, I need a rope. Oh, well, roll against it.
I need a woman who understands me.
Yeah, well, you're never getting that. My final one is going to be a quick one because it's a Dragonmirth. I actually laughed at a Dragonmirth, guys.
Oh God.
Oh God.
It's on page 103. And it's a witch talking to a wizard, and he must ask her what she's doing. He said, "Not much, just about bake some brownies," and there's some brownies tied up on the corner. I was like, ha! See? Funny Dragonmirth, because brownies are about to die.
I did see that, and I did think that was one of the more amusing.
It's rare. Believe me, it's rare. Dragonmirth is rarely funny. That's it, Jack. You can have the show back.
Okay, then I think it's time to go to ads.
I have quite a few ads.
Oh God. Okay, well then, Rob, what's your one ad that you're going to have on the show? As per the rules, your one ad.
My first ad is on page 25. It is obviously BattleTech. This is Mech Warrior, the role-playing game for BattleTech. They have the original cover, which they change later. But yeah, I don't think I have this version. I think I have the second version. But
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this version in a long time.
Yeah,
Even
with
I
the-
don't have this version.
Little Rifleman on the cover. I
Yeah.
can't remember who's on the second one. But anyways, it's a fun little role-playing game for BattleTech. That there's been a few different versions, but Mech Warrior first time we're seeing the beginning of FASA's BattleTech line. There's only like
BattleTech.
what is there? 8 different things. There's about 1,000 eventually end up in the FASA line. There's so many different books they put out, so it's kind of quaint that there's only 8 books already in the first like 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, we ain't even gotten to the freaking recognition manuals.
Yeah, there is tons. Yeah, actually, they haven't done any of the years yet. Yeah. Anyways, that's my first ad.
Okay, Pat.
Okay, let's go to Pace.
Pace. Oh God, he is having a stroke.
I think I am having a stroke. What's going on? I'm going to talk slowly. Let's go to page 2, please.
Page 2. The Power Game.
By
Yeah,
Games
what the hell is
Workshop.
this?
Another game I didn't know was made by GW. And I
Yeah.
would have to ask about this game because I never even seen this thing.
Me either.
It reminds me of like Twilight Struggle. What's the one that's the political one?
Yeah, I think it's Twilight Struggle.
Yeah,
I think I have. Let me look on my Steam real quick.
It's one of those ones, anyways. That's it reminds me of that, where it's just you're playing the 2 different superpowers trying to fight over the planet.
I have it on my
Obviously-
This one
Steam.
just came on Steam.
Well, obviously with the name like Superpower, it's about the
It is
superpowers.
it's Twilight Struggle.
Yeah, I thought so.
Is the video game version or
Yeah,
the board game? It's
There's
actually a board game.
Yeah, it's a board game. So is this, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, I got to reach out to some of my guys that are OGW employees from back in the day and see if they even know about this thing themselves.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things where they put it out, and nobody bought it, and
I
they're
can
like,
even
okay.
ask Ronnie. I mean, Ronnie might have been in this game when he was a child.
He seemed to be more miniature guy, but
So
at this point,
I don't know.
he was probably
I
working
could-
for GW at this point, has he?
no,
Not
he
until
was
90s.
in the 2000s.
Was it that late?
Ronnie's younger than I am.
Oh, is he? I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I thought he was older than you.
No, he's younger than I am. He's like 2 or 3 years younger than me.
Yeah. Anyways,
But like again, I couldn't even tell you this is a board game. Is it a card game?
it doesn't tell you much about it. It has like a little tagline, and
Is
then
it
it's
based on Uno? Who knows?
yeah. It could be a chit game. It could be anything. Yeah, we don't know. And we'll probably never find out.
Oh, we'll find out because I'm very curious about this one.
If it comes up again, maybe we'll find out. If
This
this is
one
the
and the other
last
one-
ad we'll ever see.
Whatever that night game we saw.
Yeah, see, we don't remember what it's called.
Well, I have it. Bookmarked.
It's so long ago, weeks and weeks ago.
It's years. All right, Jack. What is your second article?
My ad is
Article.
107,
107.
right to the bottom.
Rollmaster.
107.
Kings and Wizards don't really
Oh.
care about.
Cosmic Encounter, though.
The ad didn't. Cosmic Encounter.
Oh, that was my second ad.
No.
I don't know what it is. I don't. That.
Oh,
that
it's famous.
cover Can't possibly be the cover for, like the real cover. That's got to just be a picture from inside. But
This is the first edition version of the game.
This game is
Oh,
still
so
around to this day.
I have this. This game is in the
Yeah.
trunk of my car right
This is
now.
like a super famous
is-
game that eventually.
This is one of my favorite games.
Yeah. This is like one of those tentpole games that people are like, you like board games? You should play Cosmic Encounter.
This is and this I put this
Really?
down on my ads.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is the first ad I think I've seen in Dragon. There might have been one other, but I'm not
No,
too
I don't
sure.
think so.
But this is the first full color one at least of one of my favorite games, Cosmic Encounter.
well, I was gonna put out feelers because it sounded fun, and I was gonna say I've never heard of this. Anyone ever heard of this? Now apparently I'm the one that's out of the loop.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I'll
This
tell
is
you what.
like-
And I haven't.
We have that big thing planned in April.
well, you can
We'll-
play some
we'll-
Cosmic
we'll
Cosmic
We'll
Encounter.
play a game of Cosmic Encounter. It's awesome. I love it.
It's isn't it a 4X game?
No, it's not even that. It's
No?
really simple. It's a
Isn't it? Does maybe
It's-
I'm thinking of a
it's-
different game. Maybe
yeah.
Isn't
This is
does
this
it have
is
hexes?
not even that.
No, no.
It's
I'm thinking of a different game
it's
then.
way it's you're giving it way too much complexity. It's a random deck card hand game. You play one race. You can play one race or two race. You can double up, and the races each have a special power that you can do. And the basis of the game is basically to get one of your bases on 5 different systems, and you battle it out with your opponents. You can ask for allies, and if someone helps you, they get bonuses. And then it depends on how you play. There's a little more complex to it, but it's a 4-page rule book. It's not very big and it's not very complex.
Well, it's an early board game of a
Yeah, it's almost like a flux game in a sense that your race bends the rules.
yeah.
You have a set of rules unless this happens. This says you can do it.
Yeah, you can't do this unless that's your power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's endorsed by Playboy, so it must be a good game.
Oh. And Aries magazine, which is weird.
And Dragon Magazine. maybe Aries in that first like 2 magazines they put out as separate.
I think the last company to have this game was Avalon Hill. It went through a bunch of different. The Avalon Hill version is not very good.
This is West End Games.
Yeah.
So there you go. Was that Jack? Yeah, that was Jack, right?
That was me. So I think
Jack was educated.
Yes. Surprising. I'd never even heard of it.
And then we can go ahead and skip me because that also was my last ad.
Well, I got 2 other ones. I got page
Knock it out,
41.
then.
41.
Let's talk about your ads while Jack gets medicated.
41.
It's AD&D miniatures. I had so many of these. I definitely had the Blink Dogs. I think I had some of the wizards, the match users. I'm pretty sure I had that Gorgon because he weighed a ton. Yeah, I definitely had a lot of these because I don't know, had AD&D on it. Probably was a selling point to buy these miniatures. I think they're blister packs, I believe, at the time.
Yeah, all my D&D figs at this point were the Grenadiers.
Well, aren't you British?
Hey, I'm just saying.
These are made by. These are Citadel. Yes, these are Citadel miniatures.
So these might be a different set of.
But I just remember these are the
yellow boxes.
These are like the no. These are like after that. These are not as collectible, I don't think, because I think there's a billion of these. But I remember these fondly because I don't know, when I started playing, these are the miniatures that were out there. So
boy, $4.50 a pack was expensive back in 1986.
Well, you got 3 of something, or
Yes,
4 dogs.
Yeah.
Still expensive.
And that Gorgon, he literally weighed a ton. He was a solid pewter. But
pewter.
Assassins, I definitely had the assassin pack, which I don't think is on here. They don't show the assassin pack, but I remember having that one. And my last ad is on page 34. It's a quick one because people love this cover, but it's that cover from 106, maybe? And it's available as a poster. It's because this is so many people commented on how they love this cover. So I think it's one of the classics. It's the Valshea, I don't know how you say it, by Parkinson. But
was it the one where he had met the girl at the con, the model for this girl?
I don't know.
No,
Do you remember that though?
I remember the story, but I don't believe that.
Was that in Eye of the Beholder?
No, it was in the actual cover.
Maybe.
When we discussed this one, I think you were just talking about the horse's well-kempt appearance.
Yes.
I think the one where he had a model. There was a model used. Was much earlier on.
Yeah, it was a girl that he met at a con.
This was literally like last week. This picture.
And then we just rolled into the dark
places.
side of the dark places with it.
I don't think that was Parkinson that did that.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a famous cover, and I thought I'd point it out that you can buy a poster of it now, guys, because you love it so much. I wonder if those posters are still available.
I don't know.
There was only 500 made at 40 years ago. So I don't believe that you
They
would be able
probably-
to purchase them from.
If they didn't have any anymore, Jeff might have thrown them in the trash when he was told to.
That's right. That's it for me. Anybody else got anything?
No.
Wrap her up, Jack. We're done.
Okay. Well, that was 107. I think we did a good job, but there was enough here to pick through the bones and find something to talk about, which is
It was a fine one. It wasn't a bad one. It wasn't a great one.
It wasn't horrible.
Yeah, I think we did our job. We stepped up. We used our constitution and our strength and our charisma.
I used my wisdom because I am wiser for having read this.
I use my I use my comeliness.
You used your what?
You failed miserably.
No.
Oh.
So, for the Dragon's Tome, I'm Jack.
I'm Chopper.
And I've been Rob.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.
Bye.
Like, share, subscribe.
Miss you already.